I started my LLB in the second year. Okay, and barring any eventuality, I was destined to complete my studies at the Ghana Law School and do professional 1 and 2, and then come out as a lawyer. That was the journey. That was the trajectory. Your journey to becoming a lawyer in my time started from the faculty. You were able to justify your inclusion in the first year. The first year, you were admitted over and above the number that was required. And after the first year, you were selected. So that's why I said justify your inclusion. You were selected based on your grade point average. And if you made the first 60, then you were destined to become a lawyer. The first 40 will read LLB, Bachelor's of Laws. And the second, the 20, the extra 20 will combine that they will read a BA Law. Okay? But all of us will end up at Makola.
I see. So if you are in the first 40, your road is your road much more easier than those in the last 20?
No. So your rule was more. So you did international law. You did conflict of laws and some other subjects which were not available for those who were doing just simply BA law. You did. I think you did jurisprudence, and I think those who were doing BA law did not do jurisprudence. I can't remember, but I went into the LLB class, and so I graduated with an honors, LLB honors, and so my course, I know that my course was different because in my third year, I was exclusively limited to the Faculty of Law. I wasn't taking other courses from any other faculty or department.
I see. And I recall back in 2019, I think you were then in Parliament, you were a ranking member on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. We had a couple of conversations with you on this matter of a struggle that has started by the law students at the time who felt the system needed to change. They went on demonstration. There was water cannons were used. How much of that do you remember, and what came to you when you were there in Parliament at the time?
So, to be honest with you, I was one of the leading advocates of a reform of the Ghana School of Law, and particularly the delivery of professional legal education. I was also privileged while I was in Parliament to have read the position paper of the current Attorney General, Dominic Akutinga Ayini, at the mini bar conference which was held at Labad Beach Hotel. And because I jointly shared in that vision of a reform of the law school with him, he found me worthy of delivering the paper on his behalf when he was otherwise not available because of prior engagement. My simple experience at the law school was that because that is currently the only law school in Ghana providing professional legal education, the pressures are enormous. The pressures are enormous because of the limits, or if you want, the non-availability or constraints on vacancies available to admit lawyers. And this has come about because many universities have now been accredited to read law. Now, in the years before the accreditation of many institutions to provide the law course as a social science subject, they were just one stream. There was just one stream. You entered the Faculty of Law and you ended up at the law school. So the Faculty of Law provided the feedstock, if you want, for the Ghana School of Law. Now, but at the time that the Ghana School of Faculty of Law was providing the students for the Ghana School of Law, there was also the need to increase opportunities for people who otherwise did not offer the law course at the universities, but wanted to become lawyers. So anybody who had a degree in social science, one of the social sciences, or a BA in the arts, wanted, or even in the sciences, and wanted to try his hands at a change of profession, could write an entry examination at the Ghana Law School and start with the part 1, part 2, and then if he's successful in part 1, part 2, he then joins the professional class, which were students from the Ghana Faculty of Law, and then do part 1, professional 1, professional 2, and then get called to the bar. So there was also that opportunity for any other person who did not offer a law course in Ghana or in the universities outside Ghana of analogous structure to enter the Faculty of Law, the Ghana Law School, and pursue a law course, but starting from part 1, part 2, where the opportunity will be granted that person to do the foundational courses in law before graduating to the professional side, and then completing in part 2, professional 2, and if he made successful, will be called to the bar. So you will find in our time, many people were lawyers but did not have any law degree.
I see. And have you seen the law that was passed?
Yes, so we all had an idea of what should be done to reform it. And I've spoken extensively on this. We had an idea. And you can take the idea from the Institute of Chartered Accountants or Institute of Bankers. So if you train as an accountant in any institution providing the ACCA, you write a standardized examination set by the regulatory body, the ACCA. And if you pass the part 1 and part 2, you're called. You become a chartered accountant. You don't need any professional institution to train you in the part 1. It's just a course. It's a teaching course. Okay? So, and you go to the United States of America, you go to South Africa, you will find that they train students in the various tertiary institutions. And then, even in Britain, the subjects that are taught at the Ghana Law School are taught in universities. And thereafter, you join an in, and you go through professional training. But you have qualified in all the teaching subjects. And it opens up opportunity. Can you imagine in 2019 or so, more than 1,000 people applied to enter the Ghana Law School. Only 180 passed. Why? And there are instances where people were the valedictorians of their institutions and who could not get into the Faculty of Law. Was it an indictment on those institutions? Or what? I believe seriously, even though I have no evidence, that the pressure led to some inappropriate behavior at the law school. So people who entered the law school under those circumstances were questioned. There were questions hanging on some people's heads. Open it up, standardize the examination, set up an examination board. The General Legal Council becomes an law examination board for professional training. Set the questions, produce the marking scheme, and anybody who has gone through the requisite training and puts in an application to become a lawyer, writes the exams, and if he qualifies, he is otherwise qualified as a professional lawyer and goes through the privilege of 6 months training, and then he can then be qualified to practice in the courts.
The reforms proposed under this law, are they what you expected?
I didn't hear you.
I was asking whether the reforms proposed under the law was what you had in mind or expected when you were pushing.
Exactly. I didn't expect anything different. Exactly. So there will be an accreditation board that will accredit institutions to provide the law course. And that accreditation board will take many things into consideration: the faculty, the library, the environment, and all those things into consideration before accrediting an institution to provide the law course. They might also say that you can't run course as a part-time, because we saw many, when I was in Parliament and we went around looking at institutions, we saw many institutions who were running the law course as part-time. You can't run law course as a part-time. So quality control will be part of the responsibilities of the standard, the board that will be dealing with standards.
I see. So you don't think under this new regime there should be any concern when it comes to the matter of the quality that will be produced?
Oh no, there should be everything. There should be everything to do with quality. In fact, the reform requires even more rigorous monitoring of the delivery of quality lawyers. Because you see, you're going to train people who are going to deliver services. Okay? And a lawyer is just like a medical doctor. He can ruin your case or give you happiness. And so, then the performance of the lawyer tells on the profession. Association will jealously guard the credibility and integrity of the profession. So, quality control should be an inherent part of the reform process, and it is. So, here the quality control shifts onto the institution the responsibility to ensure that they are producing otherwise good candidates for law to become lawyers will be on the institution and not the individual. That's why the schemes, the standards will be set by those institutions together with the regulatory body.
I see. Alhaji, before I let you go, one other issue that I wanted your views on. Do you think, of course, because the minority raised this yesterday again, that there are issues of conflict of interest to be raised in the president's use of the private jet belonging to engineers and planners?
So let me state as my position based on my understanding of the principles of conflict of interest. Conflict of interest arises where a person expresses an interest in executing a job, whether it's a physical contract or service contract with government, and the relationship between the person who will deliver the contract and the person who performs the contract is such that it can lead to manifest perceptions of corruption or apparent corruption or conflict. That relationship can impair I'm not saying will, can, it's a possibility, impair the judgment of the person who will give the contract, to influence him because of the relationship favor the person who is applying for a contract. So it arises in situations where there is proximity, familiar relationship, where there is a conferment of a benefit, and all those things. In this particular case, I don't see it that way. Why don't I see it that way? The first thing is that everybody's missing what Ibrahim Mahmoud did, or most people are missing it. Ibrahim Mahmoud did not confer a benefit on John Dramani Mahama. He conferred a benefit on the state. It just happened that his brother is the president. So the president was to travel, and we were going to use public resources to travel. The cost of the travel was going to be borne by all of us taxpayers. Ibrahim Mahama said the president or the state could use his jet and reduce the burden on us as taxpayers. Because the president was not going on a private visit. He was going on an official visit. So that's what we should understand. And I don't see how the conferment of a benefit on the state can lead to a conflict of interest situation. I don't see it. Now, the second thing is that it's really not the first time Ibrahim Mahmoud has conferred a benefit on the state. And I said it before in your network. When our 8 compatriots, citizens of this country, died in the course of duty, and their remains had to be sent to South Africa for DNA test, Ibrahim Mahmoud again conferred a benefit on the state by making his jet available for the remains of our compatriots to be flown to South Africa for DNA test. Did you hear anybody raise a conflict of interest in a matter in that issue in that matter?
No.
No. But it's the same. It's the same. It's just like Ibrahim Mahmoud making his jet available for other government officials or other prominent citizens of this country to travel, which travel can confer a benefit on the state. How that results in conflict of interest? Well, I'm yet to understand it. But I do not take anything away from the minority's intention to seek a better clarification of the circumstances surrounding the conferment of that benefit on the state. I insist, Ibrahim Mahmoud did not confer a benefit on the president. He conferred a benefit on the state. Because the money that would have been used to pay for the plane that the president was going to use was going to come from the consolidated fund, and that is our money. Ibrahim Mahmoud's act of benevolence lessened the burden on all of us. So that's why I want this made very clear. How that is a conflict of interest, we have to wait until they escalate their intention and send a petition to the Shiraj, which is the mandated body to look at conflict of interest situations, so that Shiraj can come out with a binding authoritative pronouncement on this matter.
Well, this is and on the matter, on the issue of conflicts of interest, they are tying 2 things: the use of the private jet by the president, and then ENP's acquisition of the Damine gold mine. That they feel that the timing of the 2 establish an issue of conflict of interest, and then they are also talking about state capture. That is how they attempt to establish the issue of conflict of interest.
No, so they are actually fishing to find a a relationship between the acquisition of the diamond mine and the use of the private jet. There's absolutely no relationship. And I was the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Discussions on the diamond mine started somewhere around 2022 when gold prices were falling and the owners of diamond mine felt that the mine was not productive enough and expressed an intention to abandon the mine. They entered into discussions with EMP that have been providing mine support services to them. Mine support services simply means EMP was responsible for digging and producing the ore for the mine, the owners of the mine to process. So they provided the services. The owners of the mine were not digging for the gold. So Ibrahim Mama has just integrated forward. He just integrated forward. So he was providing mine support services. Now he's going to be a miner as well. He's going to be mining for gold. So discussions concluded long before we held election 2024. And the owners of Diamond Mine had written to the then minister, Minister Jinapo, informing him that by June this year, 2025, Diamond Mine will be operated by EMP. And the minister gave them a no objection. So acquisition of Diamond Mine was done, concluded, and sealed before election 2024. It's just that the takeover was going to manifest in 2025, June. So tell me how the mine and the aircraft, acquisition of the aircraft is related. How is it related? And you see, truth does not fear conversation. In fact, the president said at the UN just recently, truth is in language. It doesn't fear conversation. Because there are documents and correspondences between EMP and Diamond Mine. And they are available. They are available to Goldfields. They are available at EMP. They are available at the ministry. They are available at the Minerals Commission. So no amount of contrived narration of what happened can dispel or overthrow the facts that are clearly available to all of us. So the minority can be entitled, and they are entitled to their own opinion, but they are not entitled to their own set of facts. All of us must interrogate the facts. And I tell you that the facts clearly show that the mine, the negotiations for the mine were entered into, completed, sealed before election 2024, and the minister had issued his no objection to EMP taking over the mines in 2025 to Goldfields and also to Diamond Mines. Also to EMP. So there's absolutely no relationship. But again, that is the opinion of the minority, and they are entitled to their opinion. Let them establish the facts that relate or correlate Diamond Mine to the use of the aircraft. and the potential conflict of interest. It is for them to show.
Alhaji, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Alhaji Inusah Fuseini is former member of Parliament of Tamale Central, and the minority have indicated that they would, perhaps they'll try and demonstrate that in a petition to Shraj, for Shraj to investigate. We'll be speaking to the man who addressed that press conference yesterday on that issue, and for him to help us understand their basis for making the allegations of conflict of interest, tying the two events together. Taking us to 7 minutes past 9 here in our studios. Radio Gold 90.5 FM is the station. It's still the Gold Morning Conversation. And thank you very much for staying tuned. Just some small information to share with you. SM.
Yo. And the Uncle Susie Center for one of Yantua, a Jumediano, so our ha. One and normally ACB men, and our face no ACB women capsules no abba. Na CB men no said the Munimuno, a memanukutu Ediano no. Bema untimi enyon son draw Ghana map our war home. Obedient so baby na a year try this munina for Ujinafa.